Hey everybody, it's Patty and
Al.
the Professional Lovers in Training, coming back to you after another Married at First Sight couple cam with our quarantine confessions. So, let's see. The two things that stood out to me this time. One was Bobby buying a whole bunch of tools. Every time Danielle turned around, there was another package coming to the house. Let's see. He got a shop vac and a pressure washer, a golf putting tee, green. Yeah. So
I ain't mad at him.
I asked my husband, quarantine confessions, how many new tools have you bought since the lockdown started?
Officially, I bought one new tool.
No, okay. New to you.
Isn't that what she just said?
New to
me. Okay, like a car, used, but new to me.
It doesn't matter that you got it at a pawn shop, whatever. It is new to this house. You got a drill.
Yeah, I got an impact drill, which was new. I got a
nail gun,
a framing gun, which is new to me.
Another saw.
No, what saw are you talking about?
I don't know. I thought you got another saw.
No.
Okay, then what else? There are like three things. The shop vac.
I think I got
he
the shop
too
vac
got
before,
a shop vac.
I think I got the shop vac before quarantine.
Okay, so shop vac, drill, and nail gun.
I bought stuff for the bathroom.
Well, I know you bought material. Yeah. I'm talking about new toys.
They're not toys, they're essentials.
They're man toys.
They're essentials. Tools. T-O-O-L-S.
Like Bobby.
T-O-Y-S.
Like Bobby, Alton has been getting stuff so that he can occupy himself.
Stay out of your hair.
With house projects.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I'm grateful that you do have the talent for doing house projects, for working with his hands, fixing stuff.
It's huge. I need to use them.
So yes, now his project now is putting our bathroom back together,
which we have not had the pleasure of using for the past
8 years.
10 years.
So that is the project. We'll keep you updated on how it's coming along. But, when you have house projects, you got to have tools. Yeah. So that's his quarantine confession.
I mean, not unless you just want to empty the bank account, call somebody in and have it done.
Only if it wouldn't be done right.
I don't know.
That's a little scary.
Well, I mean, you take a gamble anytime you go deal with a contract.
Yeah, but what I appreciate though is that you have been doing a lot of YouTube YouTube watching and DIY watching and research, which is typically what I do if I'm trying to attempt something that I don't know how to do. Like my recipes.
Which dinner was slamming, by the way.
I'm just saying, my theory is anyone who can read a recipe can cook. But anyway.
Same thing with instructions.
Not exactly with building and
they come with instructions.
Plumbing and electrical work.
I don't mess with electric.
That kind of stuff does require some training.
No, true, it does.
Oh, that's all I'm saying. And if you haven't been trained in it, then you're kind of guessing your way through it from what you see on DIY and YouTube and stuff.
I have a tongue-in-cheek philosophy. If a man has done it, I'm a man. I should be able to do it too, to some extent. It might take a little longer, I mean, I'm not. And let me say,
we have had our little, not differences, but tiny run-ins when he thinks that I don't have faith in his ability to do stuff that he hasn't been trained to do.
It's just her total unfamiliarity.
And I try to tell him that that's not it. It's not about faith or no faith. Mm-hmm. It's about I've never seen you do
Right.
that before.
But that's what it is.
You've never really attempted it before.
Right.
And there is a reason why plumbers are trained in plumbing, like, you know, doctors are trained in the medical field. You're not just going to be like, oh, you know what? Let me try to do that little
see if the heart
operation right
can
there.
The heart
Here,
work down there by the knee?
let me just try to stitch you up. I bet I could do it. And you're not going to do that.
No, well, that's a life and death situation.
I'm just saying, it's kind of the same
thing. It's not a life and death situation.
No, but then there's some things that trade professionals learn to do. Shortcuts they understand.
That's why they're called professionals.
My point exactly. You're not a professional.
Right.
You're an amateur. No, a good one. But still.
But your unfamiliarity, and this is our little thing that we go through. Your unfamiliarity is you coming in and asking a question. Is that all you've done? I'm like, you have no idea what it may have taken me to get to a point.
Nothing looks like it's changed.
But I mean, I could literally be sweating because my body just don't work the way it used to, and to get down on knees and whatnot that I've had to pay thousands of dollars for. You know, getting up it takes work. So I have to do certain things to get things prepared, and preparation is the hardest part of any job. So in my preparation, it may not look like I have done anything, but I've prepared to do something. And she'll walk in after an hour, 2 hours, whatever. And I might have literally just prepared, measured, you know, maybe cut a couple of things in the garage and brought them in. She ain't hearing no hammering and no banging and nothing. And she'll come and say, well, what you been doing? And I'm going to be like, you need to go. You just need to go.
I thought I've been supportive and I've been, you know, giving you kudos and all of that.
I know, but it starts off with what you been doing.
But it's not a what you been doing. Like you ain't doing nothing. It's kind of like what you been doing, as in I don't see the change.
Still,
I don't see
just
a change. Okay,
guys, just respond to that. If guys that are responding and looking at this, when you hear, well, what you been doing, how do you take that question?
All right. Well, I guess I have to change my questioning then.
No. If now, as opposed to just the exact same question, and again, this is just like individual styles, because that question would be totally different if your interest would be in trying to find out what steps had been taken to get up to whatever point we're at, or, you know, what have you done to get to where you're at?
So is that the right question? Not what you've been doing, but what steps have you taken so far?
Well, no. You can ask what you've been doing if you want to know what I've been doing, because you'll ask what you've been doing because you look and don't see as if I've done anything. So you're not seeing results.
What is the difference?
Because you're not seeing results.
So then how do I say what you've been doing?
Well,
how do you want me to say what you've been doing?
Only ask the question if you want to know what I have been doing. No, you're not asking the question to learn or be informed as to what I've been doing. Okay. You want to know, why aren't we as far as we should be at this particular point?
No, really, I'm not there. I would not know how far you're supposed to be.
Exactly.
See, but you're assuming that that's what I'm saying, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm literally asking.
What you been doing?
Exactly.
Okay, maybe I'll have to listen a little differently, because the assumption when I've heard the question is as if I haven't been doing anything. What you been doing? I ain't heard nothing. I mean, again, I just...
Because I haven't said all that.
No, you haven't.
Okay,
you haven't.
I just need you to be clear. I haven't said all that.
No, you haven't. But just that question, which is open ended. What you been doing? But and it goes along with the face and the expression because again, she's not seeing certain results. Now, recently, because the subfloor has been laid, backer board has been laid because we're gonna put down tile, and the piping for the shower mechanism has been installed, and it's a newfangled thing. It's got colors and whatnot on it. She sees results.
Of course.
Now she can say, okay, it's starting to look like
Look,
something.
bottom line is, I
Starts
have
off
been
with what
giving
you've been
him
doing.
his kudos for what he's been doing. And that's important, that your partner feels supported, especially when they're trying something
True.
new.
That's not, their
normal,
their comfort zone.
Yes. Yes. So.
Because now in the quarantine episodes, we're seeing a flip situation where a father has taught his daughter how to do renovations and some handiwork, and the husband,
and Keith is not.
He's
not quite as handy.
Yeah, and I mean every guy isn't
exactly. That's not every man's forte.
And hopefully, he doesn't have an ego about it, because we can do that. That's not a woman's job, or those assumptions that. Or
I don't want to ask questions because I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm doing,
which is crazy.
No,
it's crazy.
No,
egos just, they have a place, but they shouldn't always be in a place, and they shouldn't always be present.
Well, if an ego situation, which is really about insecurity, is becoming an obstacle to progression, then it's something that needs to be looked at. But thankfully, that's not your issue. The other thing, of course, that happened at the very end, Jamie and Beth, who have always had an issue with how they fight. It's really important that a couple learn how to fight constructively.
True. Although I really think this issue, which to me is very trivial, I think their quarantine has had all to do with where they're lashing out at each other right about now. Because it's trivial. It's really trivial. And when I say trivial, it's not something that warrants, a full-blown throwdown, where it's just a little discussion, little tweaking, adjustments, being a morning person, being a night person, and compromising and finding ways to interact with one another.
Yeah, but two things came out of that for me. One is knowing how to fight.
True.
Constructively.
True.
Everybody has their own style of fighting, meaning disagreement, discussion, and
expression.
One thing that's not constructive in couple fighting is name calling. Yeah, I don't. For the person that you're supposed to be in love with, and who means the most to you than anybody else, why would you tear them down with name calling?
A negative name.
Yeah. And so, if that's part of a person's fighting style, that's definitely something that needs to be controlled and managed, because that sticks. Anything negative sticks with a person longer than anything positive.
True.
And so when to say, oh, I didn't mean any of that, it's just the heat of the moment, but that's out there. It's assaulted me and insulted me, or vice versa, and you can't take it back. a person doesn't forget that.
No.
And so, name calling, and we talked about before using divorce as a weapon, the threat of divorce as a weapon, are just not ever appropriate in fighting. Now, the yelling, I mean, I didn't grow up in a yelling family.
Neither did I.
You didn't grow up in a yelling family. That's not our style. So, I also think that at times that can get a little, that can become somewhat abusive too, the screaming and yelling. But, I can't judge that and say, oh, that's not constructive. I don't feel it is. But
some people,
that's how they
in that type of environment.
They're highly combustible, whether it's negative or positive.
And some people absorb passion. The more you yell, or the more expressive, or the more volatile you may appear to be, may be a way of someone seeing it as being passionate. And not to say that it's not, but that's just, everybody has their different way or different style of expression.
It's just that in that style, you don't want to be destructive.
Exactly.
To your partner's mental health, emotional health, or physical health.
To your relationship.
Because all of that impacts the relationship. Right. So, make sure you fight constructively. Notice I didn't say fight fair, but fight constructively. That was the first thing. What?
I was going to say my regular saying, my saying that I live by. If you can't cheat, don't play. Now,
how does that relate?
Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not telling anybody to cheat, but know how, so that when you're being cheated, you'll know it. So, and just by being negative or being destructive, it's a situation where you've gone below the surface, and it's just a level of interaction that certain things you don't want to approach as a relationship goes. When it comes down to communication. So there are certain things that you should not allow yourself to drop to when it comes to communicating or expressing yourself with your significant other. If you care about them, their feelings should be a concern of yours when you're expressing what it is you're feeling. So again, even as you're feeling outside of yourself and expressing it to your spouse, you take into consideration their feelings as well. You know how you feel, and you can change that feeling. But when you start addressing what it is you think they're trying to do to you, then it becomes a defensive mechanism, and now you're going at each other as opposed to trying to rectify how you felt something came at you. And it could just be a simple misunderstanding. But if you don't communicate, and you don't communicate openly and objectively, you end up missing the opportunity to become stronger and move on past that point.
And that takes me to the second point before we end, and that is, many times couples feel like you're just supposed to know what I'm feeling or thinking. Or if you see me, working around the house, and you're just sitting there, and you see me going back and forth working, you should know that I need help. Or if I'm having a bad day and, we're having an attitude issue, I'm having an attitude issue, you should just know that, you need to respond to me in a certain way. Or, we have this tendency to think that
you should read.
You should just know.
Mind.
Yeah, you should be able to see what's going on and know what to do, and that gets a lot of couples in trouble.
Yeah, that assumption.
And I remember when our son was a baby, and our schedules were different. First of all, I I'm a morning person. He's a night person. Um, and also, was teaching, so classes didn't start till 10. He had to be at work at 8. And so all of the morning and daytime routine with our son fell to me. He was already gone. I got home at about 3:34. He didn't get home until 5:36, 6:30. And on the weekends, though, uh, I still seem to be the one doing everything for our son. As in, I couldn't sleep in late. We're both tired. So I'm still waking up on Saturday morning, which is our Sabbath, to start getting ready for, church and all that. And then Sunday comes and I'm still waking up because Deuce was an early bird. He was always getting up at like 6 o'clock, 6:30. And it got to a point where, I would like to have a weekend morning to sleep in as well. And I don't want to have to be responsible for all of the morning duty and the evening duty. And I finally had to say, um, you need to take over the nighttime duty, the bath, and all of that, because I automatically have the morning duty. I need you to help me by taking over the night duty.
That started off as a discussion?
Yes, I believe so. But the main discussion was the weekend. We both are tired. We both want to sleep in on a weekday or weekend morning. Which morning would you like? Would you like Saturday morning or would you like Sunday morning to sleep in?
Okay, that part I've
and so I couldn't. What good would it do me to have gotten an attitude because he didn't just automatically jump in and say, "Hey, why don't you sleep in on Sunday?" I couldn't make that assumption. And to alleviate any kind of arguing and any kind of, getting at each other, and then alleviate the attitudes of just being overworked as a mom with a new baby, I said what needed to happen. We both work hard. We're both tired. We both want to be able to sleep in. There are 2 mornings where we can do that. You pick which morning you want, and I'll take the other one. And that's how we dealt with that
situation
and solved that.
As a night person, as a morning person, she did get up early, but I think there was literally 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours, in which our child was not attended to on a regular basis.
Well, he was asleep.
She would,
yeah.
Yeah.
You gave him the night bottle.
Always, right. And that'd be 12, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right. And I would get up at
just how I went to sleep, late.
5 or 6 o'clock hour to do that. And so, so we worked that according to how our own body clocks worked. But the point is don't assume that your spouse, even if it's clear as day to you, okay, women tend to key into the details. A lot of men don't key in automatically to the details.
Because we're in a box.
They're looking at the big picture, and they are not many times going to assume, what they need to do to just jump in on their own. And so to just alleviate that, just have a discussion. Yeah. Hey, this is what I need. This. Now, how can you help me with that? Because I need you to help me. So you let me know how you can help me, and then we can move forward.
Sure. Communication can resolve just about anything.
Just about anything. So with that, we are going to leave you until next week. Have a great rest of the week. And
stay safe and
keep
healthy.
Staying safe. Even though everything is kind of being unlocked now, you are still in charge of your own health. Sure. No matter what the local, state, or federal government says. So stay safe. Peace.
Enjoy.